So now that you saw what the graph looks like, we're going to need to find the rule. So what's important is that you start with the formula f of x is a over x minus h plus k. If you remember h and k, it was the point where your two asymptotes meet here. Okay, so if you look at this, you see that here you have the equation of the x, the vertical asymptote, x is equal to 2. So that means your h is equal to 2. And here you have your horizontal asymptote. So that's your k that's equal to 5. Okay, so already you can plug in these two. I'm just going to move up a bit. So we can plug in these two in our formula, right? So we're at f of x is equal to a x minus 2 plus 5. Now, what do you think we're going to need to do to figure out the rule? We need to find our a value. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in a point, x and f of x. And that's perfect because if you look on the graph, we do have a point x and f of x. I suggest that you write that down on the point so you don't mix up your values. So if we plug in the points, we're going to have 3.56, 3.5 minus 2 plus 5, and now we need to find our a value. So the 5 will go on the other side. 6 minus 5 is 1. 3.5 minus 2 is 1.5. And at this point, if you want, you can put your fraction, your 1 on a fraction. And you need to remember 1 times 1.5 is equal to 1 times a. So we have our a value. So the last thing we need to do is write down our rule. Make sure if I ask you for a rule, you start with f of x is equal to a x minus h. You substitute your h by 2 plus 5. So now we have the rule. Let's look if you have to find a rule. You have two asymptotes of a rational function that have the equation x is equal to 3, y is equal to 5, and the point negative 1, 4.5 belongs to the graph. Find the rule of the function and find the restrictions. I can talk about the restriction on the other part. We're going to look at that. So sketch, pause the video, sketch it, and then come back to see if you have the right answer. Okay, so if you sketch, you should get what's on the left. So the blue axis is x is equal to 3, the blue asymptote. The green asymptote is y is equal to 5, and your point is in red, minus 1, 4.5. That gives you a sketch. It should take you less than a minute to do that. Then you start with your rule. F of x is equal to a over x minus h plus k, and then you plug in the values that you know. So I know my y. Okay, I suggest here you write f of x under your point, so you're not mixing your numbers up. X is negative 1 minus h plus k. Okay, you should know your hk here is 3, 5. It comes from your asymptotes. And then if I simplify, I solve for my a. The 5, I bring it on the other side, so minus 0.5. And then I have a minus 4. Then you times. Okay, so 1 times a. So a is equal to, I did this, 1 times a minus 0.5 times 4. That's 2. So my a is 2. Therefore, my rule will be f of x is equal to 2 over x minus 3 plus 5. The restriction is, when is this going to exist? When x all the time, except when x is different than 3. Okay, so that would be my rule. Because what happens if x is equal to 3, then it's going to divide by 0 and it doesn't work. Okay, for the second question, I want you to find the equation of the asymptote, the domain, the range, signs, variation, zero, initial value, and graph the function. What I'm going to ask you to do is try it, bring it to class, and that's the first thing we're going to correct together on Friday morning. Have fun!